Hey, good day YouTubers. It's the Tony Martin's channel, and today we're going to discover why your boat doesn't go in reverse, specifically the Power Pilot 1973 Evinrude and up. And I have the part right here that we'll be changing out today. It is 386542. I'll turn it around here so you can actually see the part. There it is, all in its glory. And that goes in the power console, and we'll show you some more from them in the next few minutes. Okay? The reason why I'm thinking I'm not getting reverse here, and a lot of people out there in YouTube land aren't getting reverse, I just want to point out this would be mounted on the inside there. So this is my old part, and so the old part would be mounted like this. So when you rotate this little dog, forward's fine, but when you go to reverse, this little dog slips like this, is what I'm thinking, and you end up with a position like this. So therefore, you get forward only and no reverse because you can't, and it gets bound in there. So it should be like this, but this tooth is so wore out, which it is if you look at it. If you look at the tooth, it's really wore out. It'll slip off this position and end up over here. Alright, as you can see, I've already taken apart the PowerPoint console, and I think it's pretty straightforward except for this. Actually, that's not part of it, but this spring and this ball bearing you'll have to watch. And the only other tricky thing is you'll see these washers here. There's actually a screw that goes through here underneath, and you have to spin this screw off, both of them, before you can take this apart. Okay, because that's probably the hardest part of this whole thing. Back here, that's the trickiest part. Sorry about the. Now there we go. We're getting some performance here, but there are two of them. Show you this one here, and they kind of thread into these two locations here. Okay. So now, that's the only problem with taking these two halves apart. So that's the tricky part. I wanted to show you that. There's a few other screws, but I'll try and assemble it and show you how to assemble it. So in here is your throttle assembly that runs all the way back, and I tested that cable as well, so I know that cable's working good. And you're going to have to take it apart to this position here to be able to test this cable here. Otherwise, the dog here will not allow you to turn. And what ends up happening with this problem is your shifter leveler will go forward, power, and then you'll come back to neutral, and then there is a lock, and it won't allow you to go back. And I believe it's this part here. They call this part 63. In Evinrude catalogs, 1972 or 1973, pardon me, or higher. And they recommend putting a huge amount of grease on it, which I did, and that still didn't fix the problem. So hopefully by putting this new part in, I'll be able to fix it. I'm going to position this dog in neutral, so I can move that easily by hand, like that. And then I will take this screw off, and this whole assembly will come out. As you can see, I've slidden this piece out from here, and you have to kind of pull this piece out a bit so you can get your shifter lever out. Now here's the new piece. That's the old piece, and you can see that the new piece is considerably better, that the teeth here are much sharper. This is a worn out piece, probably 40 years old. It's been in this Power Pilot position. So now I'm going to change it. Okay, here's my number 10 Torx, and it'll fit in here like this. And you'll pull this screw out, and you'll reverse it. And then there's another screw on the inside, another Torx number 10 on the inside, and you'll take that out, and there's the end of the cable right here. And that cable will just slide out, enabling you to remove these pins. And to do it, you just then install this piece, obviously, here. Okay. Okay, so I've loosened off both those little torque screws. You can almost see the one that's just hanging there. And I'm just going to pull the whole assembly out here like that. And you'll see the cable. This is what I'm left with. You see that T10 screw on that side and a T10 screw on this side. Like that. Okay. And then you should be able to slide this pin out, which I'll try and do single one-handed here. There it comes. See, it's starting to come out. So I took the new part and put it beside the old part, and you can see there's a lot of damage to this lobe here. The middle lobe is a little bit wore out, and the bottom lobe seems to be okay. So maybe that's what's going on. That's slipping out of that groove right there. But that's a side-by-side comparison. So now I was able to thread the cable through, and I will just pull it till it goes till the end, like so, and then tighten these both sides of these screws, or torque screws, pardon me, on either side, here and here. Slid the dog back on, add a little grease here. I'm just using some normal grease, Motormaster grease. It says it's good for anything automotive, marine. And I just greased up this bushing here, and I greased up this bushing here just lightly. And I just wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see that in there, but there's a little, this cable has a little bit of a divot, or one of these things. I don't know what the name they are. And it goes back in here. Okay, and now I just have to mount a screw on it here with the washer. Okay, I put the screw back in, put my new reverse forward neutral dog in. I've taken particular attention to put it in the neutral position like this, so that when I reassemble it, apparently what I've been reading is they want you to assemble it so that it's in the neutral position. So that's the neutral position there. Okay? Okay, now you can see I've slipped this piece onto the spindle, the bushing, everything. And you can see over here, okay, my neutral safety switch, somebody who was in here before me has buggered it. I'm okay with that because I have the positive ball bearing position here. It makes neutral, forward, reverse positive by pushing a ball bearing in an indentation there. So I'm okay with this. So this is a neutral position, the best it can be in right now. And I'm going to put my ball bearing and spring in here. I don't know if you can see that. And put this little cover on. And I recommend putting a rag down here, so the ball bearing pops out of there, it falls down the rag instead of going deep in the abyss here and you'll never ever find it. Okay, so now I've managed to get the spring in the ball bearing and this nut, a screw on with the ball bearing in here. It's kind of hard to see, but I just wanted to show you this little trick that I learned is to keep this rag jammed up in there. The ball bearing will tend to pop out, and when you're disassembling it, the ball bearing will pop out and you'll never really find it again unless you use this rag. And you see the way it spills into the seat. So that's just a little tip there on how to prevent your loss of your spring and your ball bearing that sits in here. Okay, now I'm going to take this side assembly, which is here, and I'm going to mount it on top of here, on top of this spindle. Using my throttle cable over here, I'm going to line up this little bushing into this groove here so I can slide it all on. I'll screw it in with these two screws. And I wanted to just show you this really quickly while I'm in here. I had to mount a new ignition switch in here because the key broke. So this is actually a choked key version. You push in for choke and then you turn it, but obviously I have my choke lever. So you can also use this style, just so that you know, as long as it's got the M on the contacts, so that you can you know, shut off current to the motor. Okay, I have mounted the screws back in, so you know, now you can see that the assembly will not come apart. And I'll mount the bottom bracket or bottom assembly down here, and I believe there's 3 screws, one up here and 2 back here, and that's your throttle cable there. Okay, mounted my bottom bracket. It's only 3 screws. I'll mount my warm-up lever, which is right there, 1 screw, and then I'll mount my power point, which is one, I think there's not, I'm not sure, it's a Torx of some kind, but I can't remember the size. Okay, then I'll mount this on here as well. That's the top piece. It goes on, like, shows you neutral and that, and it goes over here, and there's 3 screws here. But I'll probably end up mounting the warm-up lever on this, the handle, just to test it before I tighten everything down. I've mounted up my warm-up lever with the 1 screw. It's hidden by this cover here, Evinrude Power Pilot. This here is, I just want to show everybody, this is 3/16, so it fits in here. And we'll give it a try here and see what happens. So get forward. That's good. Now reverse. It's good. And reverse works good. And we'll go to the middle position again. And we'll go forward again. So there you go. That works fine. I'm going to tighten up these back screws now and put my cap on. Well, that concludes the Tony Martin's channel on how to repair a reverse on your Evinrude 50, possibly all the way up to 110. And if you liked my video, please like it. And thank you very much. Take care. Bye now.